It is a slap in the face that we as citizens of the United States of America do not have the resources and support, but you're going to bring people who are not citizens here in our community, in our buildings that we pay taxes for, that you took away from us. That is completely unacceptable. We are in a humanitarian crisis right now. The black people in Chicago are bleeding on the streets.
Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson had this to say about the migrant crisis.
We have a responsibility to make sure that families who are seeking love and support here in the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois, that they are not just welcome, but they are serviced.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to discuss this ongoing issue of illegal immigration in this country and how it's affecting regular citizens. We've seen the example of what's going on in the South Shore community in Chicago that is predominantly African American, and many are disillusioned with their decision to vote Democrat. Many consider it a slap in the face to take resources that community desperately needs and giving it to illegal immigrants. And they are seeing in no uncertain terms that their needs are not a priority, even though they are the citizens, that's their community, and they pay taxes. It's been made clear to them that their needs are not a priority. And now we are seeing other examples across the country where people are, again, seeing that the needs of American citizens are not being put first. The migrant crisis is taking over this country, and these cities and border towns are struggling to accommodate the number of people, the sheer number of people. We have immigrants laying in the floor of police stations, and they don't know how long that's going to go on for. That's why they wanted to repurpose the school in the South Shore community to place migrants, because they're literally sleeping on the floor of a police station right now. They're using hotels. People can't book hotels in certain areas because these hotels are being used for migrants. And now that brings us to this story of a married couple who basically were told, like without any notice, that the hotel that they had booked way in advance for their relatives to attend their wedding was no longer going to be available, or at least the number of rooms that they had booked. So let's take a look at this story. A Florida couple has had their wedding upended after an Orange County hotel set to take in migrants from New York City abruptly cancelled the rooms she booked for her guests, she told the Post. We felt discarded, disappointed and angry that they just tossed us aside to make an extra $1 for the hotel. It's just not right. Mifsud and Gary Moretti, 37, are both originally from New York and plan to marry June 24th at Lippincott Manor in upstate Wallkill, with 160 guests from throughout the country expected to attend, she said. For the big day, the couple's guests had a total of 30 rooms booked at the Crossroads Hotel in Newburgh, about 20 minutes from their venue. The newlyweds, along with 10 bridesmaids, 5 groomsmen, and guests from California, Florida, Arizona, Minnesota, Connecticut, New Jersey, Long Island, and Westchester, had all planned to stay at the hotel, and the couple had paid for transportation to and from the party. We signed a contract. We had a legal contract to have those rooms, Moretti said. We just wanted everybody to be safe and have a good time. But everything was upended when they learned the Crossroads was set to accept migrants from New York City who were being bused to hotels in Westchester and the Hudson Valley as the city struggles to deal with the influx of immigrants pouring over the border. So they called the hotel and learned their reservations had been tossed aside. The hotel told them to call Choice Management, which oversees the facility. We were on hold for 45 plus minutes and were ultimately told, we can't do anything for you, bye-bye. And we were hung up on. What? Mifsud recalled, adding only one guest had gotten notice of the cancellation. Some people had cancelled already, she said. How can a business just treat their customers like that? That's appalling. So obviously she was providing them with a lot of business, but I guess the government pays more. So such a huge inconvenience, extremely stressful, and probably going to cost a lot of money because you have to rebook things. It's bittersweet. It puts a dampener on it because we would love for those people to come. The Crossroads is one of several hotels believed to have booted nearly 24 homeless veterans in favour of incoming migrants, It's believed the hotels rake in as much as $190 a night. It's complete chaos. We do not feel they're housing the migrants out of the kindness of their heart. It's just for the money. That's how we feel, said Mifsud, who along with Moretti is now scrambling to find new accommodations for those who can still make it to their big day. It's at least the second set of soon-to-be newlyweds whose wedding has been thrown into chaos by the migrant crisis. So, I mean, the fact that people can't even come to the wedding now. And for what? Because they can make more money housing illegal immigrants. Terrible. A huge disrespect, a huge slap in the face. And in future, I'm sure she's not going to use this hotel. A Queens couple claimed the 37 rooms they booked months in advance at Crossroads Hotel for guests of their May 20 wedding were also suddenly cancelled. What we feel right now is we feel very cast aside. Groom-to-be Sean Plunkett told CBS. A spokesman for Choice Hotels, the brand under which Crossroads operates, said all affected guests will be contacted for assistance with rebooking their upcoming reservations. Further questions were referred to Crossroads, which did not immediately respond to a message. So that's just a standard response. These people have been left with no help, and their guests can't even attend now because it was cancelled at the last minute. A complete disrespect to their customers who booked months in advance, so they should take priority. But I guess they care more about the money that they can make and milk from this migrant crisis rather than doing what is right, rather than making sure that they honour their customers and the rooms that they had booked. And this is for a wedding. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event. It's not like, oh, okay, we'll just wait till next week. No, especially when people are coming from out of town. So they've affected their wedding, the outcome, of the wedding, and that's really sad. So the homeless veterans as well were also thrown out of hotels. Homeless veterans have been booted from hotels in upstate New York to presumably make room for the growing influx of migrants flowing from the southern border, according to a non-profit working with the veterans. CEO of the Yerrick Israel Tony Foundation, Sharon Tony Finch, told the New York Post she was notified by veterans that they were getting kicked out of the hotels they were being housed at as they waited for more permanent housing options. Although they were not told explicitly it was due to the migrant surge, she said that was evident given the timing as officials battled the border surge and spillover amid the end of Title 42. Yes, it is obvious. New York State Assemblyman Brian Mahar slammed the Biden administration and New York officials for allowing them to be kicked out of their hotels during Fox and Friends first.
One thing that's definitely not going right, 20 homeless veterans have been kicked out of an upstate New York hotel to make room for migrants being bused there from New York City. The CEO of the YIT Foundation, which is helping to house those vets, tells the New York Post, whether you agree with asylum seekers being here or not, we can't just ignore these veterans that are in our charge that we are supposed to protect. We need to put them first. There are 20 veterans that are being kicked out, I guess the term is unhomed, so that these migrants can come here. I know that this really circles around the Crossroads Hotel in Orange County, which is the area that you represent. We reported last night about 2 different couples whose weddings were canceled from the hotel. Explain to me how this hotel can do that, and how is New York City controlling what's happening in Orange County?
So the Biden administration, Governor Hochul, and the city of New York, they all have a part in this, and it's a total embarrassment. It's a slap in the face to veterans, to citizens of New York and this country who are really being cast aside to allow for asylum seekers to come here. At the end of the day, when it comes to this particular situation, you had combat veterans who are homeless, who were told to get out of their hotel after 1 day. Sharon and her team scrambled to find them locations, and right now what we've tried to do is let those veterans know we appreciate them. We're embarrassed by what's happened to them, but we have their backs.
You know, a New York City spokesperson says, we're asking Orange County to manage less than 1/4% of the asylum seekers who have come to New York City with New York paying for shelter, food, and services. I think what's telling about that is you can take things and reframe them, but that's still 20 veterans that are kicked out of their home.
And we just know about 20 veterans, and we know about weddings whose parties have been canceled. We don't know how far-reaching this is.
So again, the same language is being used because people are experiencing the same thing. Our veterans, people in the Black community, people booking weddings. It's a slap in the face. Again, it tells you that you don't matter. Even though you're the citizen who should be put first, it's telling you you don't matter. The money that you've spent, i.e. your tax dollars, that has paid for resources that is supposed to go to you and your community, doesn't matter. The money that you spent booking hotels, a lot of money, for a number of guests. Sorry, we need that hotel for someone else because we can make more money with illegal migrants. So, bye-bye. Again, telling someone that they don't matter. Veterans, homeless veterans who need those rooms. They're not just booking it for, a nice getaway. They need those rooms or they'll be out on the streets. And these are people who fought for our country, who risked their lives, who dedicated their life to serving this country. Many are dealing with mental health issues as well, which isn't surprising. Yet they've been tossed out on the street because they want to make room for people who are not citizens of this country, who came here illegally. Absolutely appalling. There were reportedly 20 veterans who were told they would no longer receive temporary housing at the hotels. 15 of those former service members were at the Crossroads Hotel in Newburgh. This is the same hotel migrants arrived at last week in New York City Mayor Eric Adams' attempt to alleviate the impact of the southern border surge on the Big Apple's already strained resources. And this is because, again, New York was declared a sanctuary city, which apparently they're backtracking on now. The other 5 veterans were at either the Super 8 or the Hampton Inn and Suites in Middletown. Since the calls, the veterans were rehoused at the Hudson Valley Hotel about 20 minutes away. The surge is even derailing weddings, with one Florida couple reporting the hotel cancelled rooms previously booked for her out-of-town guests. Okay, so they were rehoused. That's good news, at least.
What Sharon has been hearing is throughout the country, other veterans organizations and other organizations that really help at-risk Americans are coming forward and letting her know, hey, this happened to us, but they're afraid to speak out. Sharon spoke out, and now she's getting hate messages. She asked me to handle this interview today because she wants to focus on the veterans. And by the way, one of these veterans, 30 years old, he was there for the Afghanistan pullout. For me, one of the most embarrassing moments for our country in our history. And after getting home, he was kicked out of this hotel, trying to reintegrate back into our society.
Where is the compassion when it comes to people living in inner city areas, taking resources from them to give to others, when they're the ones who pay taxes, when they're the ones who should be put first in benefiting from those resources? Where's the compassion, for our own people, basically? And then cancelling people who have booked rooms for their wedding, cancelling it at the last minute, and basically seeing to it that guests cannot even go to their own relatives or friends' wedding. Where's the compassion there? So pretty messed up situation if you ask me. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves and I will see you in the next video.